We're gonna go take down Gascoigne. We're gonna keep going up to the Cathedral Ward, and then we'll head back to the. We'll head to the Hunter's Dream. Die here, that's kind of embarrassing. Something that some people may have not observed in this game is that a lot of times hunters will dash or will shoot after they dash.
Sweet blood.
So you can exploit that if you want to. Against Gascoigne, that's a little bit less consistent, but against a lot of hunters, for example, the Bloody Crow and Canist, that is more or less consistent, actually. So. See? Oh yeah, Gascoigne can also shoot while he's dashing, but that's only true for boss hunters. Visual attack to actually restore all of the health that you lost from that you can rally back, so it's very useful to take advantage of that. Also, Gascoigne has the music box you can exploit against him, and with that he should go down. So. Used more blood vials than I should have there, but I was being very sloppy fighting him, partially because I'm trying to talk while playing, but which is a little bit distracting, but it's not that bad. But up here we can find the corpse of his wife, Viola, which with this we can do one of two things. The more humane thing or the less humane thing, depending upon your perspective. You can either give her the brooch and she'll, Gascoigne and Viola's daughter will become depressed, or you can crush it and tell her to go to either the Oedon Chapel, which is where we're going to reach here in just a moment, or to Yesefka's clinic. So you can really do three things with it, or you can just not give her either, but that doesn't progress the quest line now, does it? If you tell her to go to Yesefka's clinic, she'll get there, but she'll become one of those blue little celestial emissaries, which, due to Yesefka's double experimenting, or you can send her here and she won't even reach it. She'll get eaten by a pig. We do, of course, have the blind man.
Oh, you're very sorry. Good. Good. These hunts are every waiting for it to end. But it won't end nicely. Screams of women folk. Yarnum's done for, tell ya. But if you spot anyone with their wits about them, tell them about this here Oedon Chapel. They'll be safe here. I know if you happen to pontiff the scene, and I do sincerely hope...
Skeptical Man's a nice guy. We're not going to go back to the dream quite yet. We're going to get this short little side path right here done, because I want to pick up an item to sell. Because God knows I'm not using the wood shield. Oh, I didn't mention it, but I think it's because most of you guys probably know. When the Cleric Beast dropped the Silver Hunter badge, which allows me to buy the current It's a tad expensive, so I'm not going to buy it quite yet. These church rangers are quite easy to parry, so that's one of many reasons I'm spamming parries on these guys. But grab that wooden shield. I'm gonna go sell that when I get back to the dream, which I'm on my way back right now. I'm actually also going to pick up the spare hunter garb to sell all of the pieces of it but the top hat, because that is unique. And who knows, I might use it. He actually was readying an attack. That was a blind parry, but it did pay off. I was kind of expecting him to do the quick lunge forward, but I didn't actually think the parry frames were active quite there. Oh yeah, also the caped hunter garb. Hunter gloves, hunter boots, and wooden shield I can all sell. The wooden shield is unique, but it's not something I would ever consider using because it's so bad. Maybe the lock shield from that's in the clock tower, but definitely not the research lab, not clock tower, but definitely not the wooden shield. Dolls up. Grab the beckoning bell and silencing blank, which I am playing online, by the way, and a old hunter bell. Silencing blank there, beckoning bell there. Won't be using them unless I decide to co-op with a friend in this playthrough, which is unlikely. I do. I don't. Not really, but I just don't see the point in it at this point, due to the fact that most people would prefer to watch me play solo. At least I assume. All these, and I'm gonna do the route to get the bloody red bandage, so I'm gonna get the little girl eaten by pig. Call me a monster if you want, but I want that bloody red bandage.
Hello, good hunter.
And we got the doll.
I am a doll, here in this dream to look after you, honorable hunter. Pursue the echoes of blood, and I will channel them into your strength. You will hunt beasts, and I will be here for you, to embolden your sickly spirit. Very well. Let the echoes become your strength. Let me stand close. Now shut your eyes.
For those of you who aren't aware, which you probably are, the doll is actually voiced by the same person as the Maiden in Black from Demon Souls. I'm going to check the dex skill requirement on the current camera real quick. I'm not going to buy it quite yet, but I'm going to get my skill high enough to use it. 10. So I get one more point of skill.
Welcome. What is very
And I'll pump the rest into strength.
Farewell, good hunter. May you find your worth in the waking world.
I've only played the beginning of Demon Souls. I've gotten to the Tower Knight, and I did a little bit of a couple other areas, but I got kind of tired of it because I didn't care for the gameplay, because I have been spoiled by the more recent installations, more smooth gameplay. Even comparing Demon Souls to like Dark Souls 1, it feels comparably clunky, which I guess is just me being a bit picky, but also because of the fact that the game is rather non-linear. I wasn't really sure what area to do after the Tower Knight. I know you can do any of them that you want, But even just trying Shrine of Storms, like, which I know isn't intended to be done that early, but even just attempting to do that, I got rather, well, quite frankly, I got wrecked. Now that we've returned to the Hunter's Dream, I'm going to do a bit of item description reading for you guys. Got a lot to do, but well, yeah, I guess I'll do it. I've got quite a lot to do, but I'm going to first do a little bit of Fashion Souls here real quick. Boom. With just Hunter and Gascoigne's hat, I think this already looks better. But Gascoigne's hat looks good with a lot of stuff. So, anyway, we'll start with the consumables, and then we'll just head over. So, Yosefka's Blood Vial. Blood Vial acquired from Yosefka's clinic. This refined blood, highly invigorating, restores a larger amount of HP, the product of a slow and careful refinement process. This rare blood vial appears to be a clinic original. The oil urn. When this urn hits its mark, the target is drenched in oil and made extremely flammable. Fire is commonplace on the hunt, and oil urns accentuate its effect. Sometimes, when hunters burn beasts, they appear intoxicated by the euphoria of purification. Pungent Blood Cocktail. A mature blood cocktail that releases a pungent odor when thrown that attracts bloodthirsty beasts. A precious tool in sadly short supply. In Yharnam, they produce more blood than alcohol, as the former is the more intoxicating. Throwing Knife. Throwing Knife with a finely serrated blade, one of the old hunter Henrik's favorite weapons. It does not cause a great deal of damage to beasts, but with deft use, it can distract attackers and keep them at bay. A Pebble. Small pebbles found throughout Yharnam can be thrown at foes. Quite thrilling. Bold Hunter's Mark. Dangling upside-down rune etched in the mind of a hunter. The image upon this parchment allows one to envision the rune with clarity. Allows a hunter to awaken again without losing blood echoes, a trick that seems nearly too good to be true. A tiny music box. A small music box received from a young Yharnam girl. Plays a song shared by her mother and father. Inside the lid is a small scrap of paper, perhaps an old message. Two names can be made out, however faintly. Viola and Gascoigne. Madman's Knowledge. The skull of a madman touched by the wisdom of the great ones, used to gain insight. Making contact with eldritch wisdom is a blessing, for even if it drives one mad, it allows one to serve a grander purpose for posterity. The Beckoning Bell. A great old bell discovered in the underground labyrinth. Its ring resonates across worlds, and the first hunter used it as a special signal to call hunters from other worlds to cross the gap and cooperate. A human must use insight to ring this uncanny bell, but the benefits of cross-world cooperation are many. Small Resonant Bell. A small bell discovered in the old underground labyrinth. Its ring resonates across worlds, and the first hunter uses it as a special signal to call hunters from other worlds to cross the gap and cooperate. This bell resonates with its counterpart, the Beckoning Bell. Ring to help hunters in other worlds. A bloodstained bell discovered in the old underground labyrinth. Used of one of the resonating bells that crosses the gap of worlds, but this one knells for misfortune and malice. The sinister bell is an object of dark thoughts, ring it to become the enemy of a hunter in another world. The silencing blank. Hunters are linked by the resonance of bells, with special encoded timbers. This inaudible bell burst disrupts such resonance. Fire to win cooperation and prevents further cooperation. Firing this does not disrupt the resonance of a sinister bell. A Hunter's Mark. A dangling upside-down rune etched in one's mind, symbol of a hunter. By focusing one's thoughts on this rune, a hunter loses all blood echoes, but awakens afresh, as if it were all just a bad dream. Notebook. Messengers are inhabitants of the dream who revere the brave hunters, use them to send messages to other worlds. Leave notes with messengers, read the notes left to messengers in other worlds, and write notes to reach out to hunters across planes of existence. Bloodstone shards. A solid shard that forms in cold blood. After death, a substance in the blood hardens, and that which is not crystallized is called a bloodstone. At the workshop, these bloodstones are embedded in weapons to fortify them. Oedon Tomb Key. Key to the gate that blocks the tomb of Oedon. Beyond the tomb, Oedon Chapel can be found in the center of the Cathedral ward. Only today the church is abandoned, and some say that the residents of Oedon have all gone mad. Blood Gem Workshop Tool. A misplaced workshop tool from the Hunter's Dream. The hunter who retrieves this can fortify weapons by kneading blood gems into them. Blood gems add properties to weapons which use to fortify them. When used to fortify them, as blood defines an organism. Saw Hunter badge. Badge crafted long ago at the workshop. Attests to one's prowess as a hunter of beasts. The workshop is gone and no group recognizes this meaningless badge except the messengers in the bath who understand its profundity. Certain things can only be entrusted with a hunter in possession of this badge, or so they believe. One of the badges crafted by the Healing Church, the silver sword, is a symbol of a church hunter. Lubuk was the first of many Healing Church hunters to come, many of whom were clerics, as it was clerics transformed into the most hideous beasts. The Old Hunter Bell. One of the resonating bells that crosses the gaps of worlds. This bell is cracked and stained with the blood of beasts. A human must expend insight to ring this uncanny bell. The old hunters who have long passed from the dream, but cannot forget the feeling of the hunt, rely upon messengers to relay their thoughts. Ring the bell at their side and they are certain to give a listen, for the hunt is long and unchanging. Saw Cleaver. One of the trick weapons of the workshop, commonly used in the hunting business. This saw, effective at drawing the blood of beasts, transforms into a long cleaver that makes use of centrifugal force. The saw, with its set of bloodletting teeth, has become a symbol of the hunt, and only grows in effectiveness the more grotesquely transformed the beast. The Hunter Blunderbuss. A blunderbuss created at the workshop for the hunter's line of work. Hunter firearms are specially crafted to employ quicksilver bullets fused with the wielder's own blood, boosting damage against beasts. The impact of this highly effective weapon counters beasts' swift movements, and its widespread is nigh on guaranteed to hit the mark. The Hunter Hat, one of the standard articles of hunter attire fashioned at the workshop. A fine piece of hunter attire that provides stable defense to anyone facing Yharnam's beastly threat. Recognizable by its withered feathers, this cap is fashioned after one of the old hunters. One of the standard articles of hunter attire fashioned at the workshop, accompanied with a short cape to wipe away the blood. It allows one to stalk beasts unannounced by cover of night. I'm skipping parts of the descriptions that are repeated from others, by the way. This one without a cape wipes away blood. Yeah. There we go. Top hat. Hat worn by hunters who admire formality. Some hunters place an emphasis on form, as seen by the use of the threaded cane. For them, formality, beauty, and justice are the very essence of our humanity, and precisely what keeps hunters from becoming something else. Hunter attire worn by Father Gascoigne. Similar to hunter garb created at the workshop, only these are tainted by a pungent, beastly stench that eats away at Gascoigne. Father is a title used for clerics in a foreign land, and there is no such rank in the Healing Church. Hunter attire worn by Father Gascoigne. The dingy scarf is a holy shawl and symbol of the Healing Church, from which Gascoigne would eventually part ways. Hood worn upon awakening to the nightmare of blood and beasts. Perhaps its wearer had to stay out of sight and travel by cover of darkness. Without memory, who will ever know? Not typical clothing for Yharnam. Perhaps it is a foreign land. It is said, after all, the traveler came to Yharnam from afar. A faint memory recalls blood ministration, involving the transfusion of unknown blood. They are terribly worn and unsanitary. Not long after, the nightmare began. A blood gem that fortifies weapons and adds various properties. Blood gems are especially rare bloodstones that grow on cold blood. Most rare blood gems have effects that provide attribute bonuses and extra effects. Alright, those are all the ones we have in our inventory, but there are quite a few items over here that we can get that we don't have a look at. Special blood, used in ministration, restores HP. Only a patient has had their blood ministered. A unique but common treatment in Yharnam. Successful infusions recall the first and all the more invigorating for it. No surprise that most Yharnamites are heavy users of blood. Especially bullets used with hunter firearms. Ordinary bullets have no effect on beasts, and so quicksilver bullets fused with the wielder's own blood must be employed. The strength of quicksilver bullets depends greatly upon the wielder's blood tinge. Antidotes are small medicinal tablets that counteract poison, used to treat ashen blood, the baffling sickness that ravaged Old Yharnam long ago. These tablets only provide short-term relief. The ashen blood ailment eventually triggered the spread of the beastly scourge. Molotov cocktails explode in raging flames when thrown against an object, one of the oldest hunter tools available in the workshop. Since the tragedy that struck Old Yharnam, fires become a staple in the beast hunts and are sought to cleanse impurity. Certain beasts have an abnormal fear of flame. And the hand lantern, a small portable lantern. This hunting accessory provides light while leaving both hands free to hold weapons. The torch, however, provides a strong source of light. Hunter Chief Emblem. Cloth emblem that belonged to the captain of the church hunters long ago. opens the main gates that leads to the round plaza of the Grand Cathedral, or Great Cathedral. The main gate is shut tight on nights of the hunt and can only be opened from the other side with this emblem. In other words, the captain's return and this emblem determine the end of the hunt. Difference is dedication to the hunt, so let's go. One of the trick weapons of the workshop, commonly used in the hunting business. This saw, effective at drawing the blood of beasts, transformed into a long cleaver. This one transforms into a medium-range spear, and is used by those who dedicate themselves to the hunt. Threaded cane, one of the trick weapons of the workshop, commonly used by hunters of their duties. Sufficiently deadly as a rigid blade cane, but also serves as a whip when its blade is split into many. Concealing the weapon inside the cane and flogging the beasts with the whip is partly an act of ceremony, an attempt to demonstrate to oneself that the bloodlust of the hunt will never encroach upon the soul. The cart hammer is a trick weapon typically used by healing church hunters. On one side, an easily handled silver sword, on the other, a giant obtuse stone weapon, characterized by a blunt strike and extreme force of impact. The hunter takes a heavy-handed, merciless stance toward the plague of beasts, an irony not lost upon the wielders of this most symbolic weapon. Hunter's pistol is a pistol made in the workshop for hunter stalking beast. The pistol is a quicker draw than the blunderbuss, allowing for speedier responses to attacks. The repeating pistol, typically used by healing church hunters, crafted with mostly metal parts and exhibiting a complex design. The repeating pistol fires 2 shots at once, making it a ravenous consumer of quicksilver bullets. It should be used sparingly compared to its workshop counterpart as the trump card in one's arsenal. The Yharnam Hunter set. Ludwig, the first hunter of the healing church, once recruited Yharnamites to serve as hunters. This hunter's attire was made for new recruits and has excellent straightforward defense, but not nearly enough to allow an ordinary man to stand any real chance against the beasts. And that's pretty much everything. Let me go check the inside bath real quick. Yeah, that's everything. It took a little bit longer than I anticipated, but I did get all of the item descriptions that I currently have. For those of you who are interested, I can show you the Saw Cleaver's moveset. Sorry about that, I just burped. I do not care for the Dwarf's moveset, by the way. That's R1, R1. I don't care for the Saw Cleaver's Morph moveset, but it does have the same moveset as the Saw Spear while unmorphed. So, I don't care for the fact that it has those heavy vertical attacks and not much in the way of horizontals, and it does not do very much damage, which is why I don't care for it. But anyway, that's out of the way. Let's get a small branch of the cathedral work done. Then we're going to head back and go to Old Yharnam. I did equip the torch, by the way, mostly as a source of light. I'm not sure how dark the recording will be, so I'm going to use the torch whenever I'm going to particularly dark areas, so that you guys can see a bit better. I'm not entirely sure how dark the recording will get. This is going to be our first encounter with a church giant. These big fellas are extremely slow, but extremely hard. So I'm going to show you guys something that I didn't know for quite a few places. See that bone that was sticking out of his leg? If you hit that, you can actually trigger a visceral attack. I'll attempt to show you. Not sure when I'm going to get a chance to actually demonstrate that, because the ones with the ball and chain are a lot harder to do, attempt that on. Ooh. You throw with a lot more forward force in this than you do in Dark Souls. I believe the reason that attack did more damage than the last one was because of the counter strike. I'm not sure though. The lock-on mechanic in this one is a little bit more smooth, I guess, the transition that it is in the Souls games, by the way. There's the binocular. I actually put that on one, mark on two. There we go. I also level a little bit weirdly, I guess, compared to a lot of people. In Bloodborne, I try to level up my strength or skill or both, depending upon which stat I use, to 20 to 25 after getting my vitality and endurance up to 15. And then after that, I level up vitality and endurance to about 25 to 30. That is because of the fact that in Bloodborne, enemies get extremely hard compared to the Souls games. So it is extremely useful to have a high vitality score. Endurance boosts your resistances as well as your stamina, so it is also important to have that high. Because in Bloodborne, you can attack a lot more before you run out of stamina, but you also are more reliant on your stamina than you are in the Souls games because you can't block, and it's enemies are a lot more aggressive, so you have to dodge and sprint a lot more. I usually try to get my vitality up to between 40 and 50. Endurance, I can stop at 35 to 40, but I do not go lower than 35 on endurance, unless I'm leveling up one of my other stats a lot. Due to the advent of blood gems, scaling matters a lot less in Bloodborne for damage, because most of your damage is going to be coming not from scaling, but from the level of your equipment, as well as the use of blood gems. Blood gems are extremely important to damage once you have once you're a little bit later in the game. They'll make more of an impact than scaling will oftentimes. Unless you're using something with a high S, like the Rakuyo or the Gazog, in which case scaling matters pretty much just as much. Especially early game, equipment level and blood gems make the biggest difference in damage. So leveling up your strength up to a 20 is a good stopping point for a pure strength build, because around this point is whenever you start to get more and more blood gems. So you won't need as much stats for scaling. The early game, before you get those blood gems, that little bit of strength scaling that you get from having it up to a 20 makes a decent enough difference to make it important. But up until you get your vitality and endurance to about 25, you don't really need much more because of difference. They make a larger difference at this point than scaling would usually. So you don't need to get your offensive stat much higher than 20 at this point in the game. If you're using both stats, for example, if you're using the Saw Spear, 20 and 20 might be overkill, so you could go to 18 and 18 if you wanted to. But those extra 4 levels don't make a huge amount of difference. So
I knew it. That's precisely how I started out. Oh, beg pardon. You may call me Alfred, protege of Master Ligarius, hunter of vile bloods. So, what say you? Our prey might differ, but we are hunters, the both of us. Why not cooperate and discuss the things we've learned? Oh, very good. Very good indeed. Take this to celebrate our acquaintance. Beast hunting is a sacred practice. There must be oodles for us to share. Go on. Just tell me what piques your interest.
Alright, so this is Alfred, Vile Blood Hunter, apprentice of Master Ligarius, as he said, or Martyr Ligarius. But he is actually voiced by the same guy as Solaire, for those of you who don't know. But he's not that important for most of the game. He is the way you get access to the Ligarius wheel, one of the only weapons with an S rank in strength scaling. But that is also not attainable till close to the end of the game unless you are willing to kill him. So it's a little bit harder to get it. He gives us info about the Healing Church in Bergenworth, which I'll put it up for you guys to listen to. I've already heard this multiple times. But.
As you know, the Healing Church is the fountainhead of blood healing. Well, I'm a simple hunter, quite unfamiliar with the ins and outs of the institution. But I have heard that the holy medium of blood healing is venerated in the main cathedral, and that counselors of the old church reside in the high stratum of the cathedral ward. If you seek blood healing, and the church is willing, you should pay them a visit. Bergenworth is an old place of learning, and the Tomb of the Gods, carved out below Yharnam, should be familiar to every hunter. Well, once a group of young Bergenworth scholars discovered a holy medium deep within the tomb. This led to the founding of the Healing Church and the establishment of blood healing. In this sense, everything sacred in Yharnam can be traced back to Bergenworth. But today, the college lies deep within a tangled wood, abandoned and decrepit. And furthermore, the Healing Church has declared Bergenworth forbidden ground. It's unclear how many of its scholars remain alive, but only they know the password that allows passage through the gate. I bid you farewell. It has been a pleasure. May the good blood guide your way.
Alright, so Bergenworth lies within the Forbidden Woods, past the gate. We will not know the entrance to, or no, the passwords to get the entrance to until after we beat Vicar Amelia. This Vicar Amelia raised in front of the Skull of Thorns, the first Vicar of the Healing Church and a scholar of the Church. And through his skull, we're able to find the memory that contains the password to gain access to it. I don't really understand why the Healing Church declaring Bergenworth forbidden ground or whatever even really matters anymore, because the Healing Church has fallen to pieces. There's nobody really left to uphold the word of the Healing Church. Even Ludwig has become a beast. Lawrence has also become a beast. The only really person that's really left is Master Willem, and he's in Bergenworth. A Vicar of the Healing Church of Amelia is still around, but she becomes a beast by the time we But I suppose he's honoring the word of the Healing Church as he is a hunter of the Healing Church. Oh yeah, I have no insight. Yeah, fix that problem. I'm gonna try to the area because if I want to level up the doll, so let's fix that problem. We got quite a few regular bloodstone shards. No twin bloodstone shards yet, but we did quite a few regular bloodstone shards, so we should be able to upgrade our hunter axe to +3, and maybe our saw spear, our saw cleaver up to 1 or 2. Once I get, I'm not going to spend too much on my saw spear though, because I am going to upgrade my holy blade. I'm not going to grab the holy blade until after I have beat the Bloodstarved Beast, because he'll drop me enough blood echoes to get it, and I'll have gotten enough bloodstone shards to upgrade it quite a bit by that point. So that and the Kirk hammer and the hunter axe are primary weapons for quite a while. Basically until I get the Whirligig Saw, which is not going to be for quite a while. So I have to get my cleaver to +2, and I don't think I have any bludgeons I can put on. Oh, actually no, I don't. Alright. So our axe has 154 versus the cleaver's 126. The cleaver costs a little bit less stamina to strike. Well, not substantially less, but it's noticeable. There's a difference between being able to dash after a combo or not, I think. Yeah, it's a difference between being able to dash at the end of a combo and not.
Welcome.
So it's
What is
substantial enough to make a difference,
Very
but its
well.
damage is considerably lower.
Let the echoes become your strength.
Oop, I did not mean to do that.
Let me
So we're gonna get our vitality up to 16, and we're gonna up our vitality to 20 and our endurance. I don't have enough echoes to spend on another level. I don't think I have any new inscriptions either. So yeah, that's good. I'm gonna call it a day for now. I'll see you guys next time.